How do you create authenticity with your style? Well, this comes out in your self-expression of who you are, right? What are those little nuancy, quirky things about your personality that you can weave into your style? How do we share our origin story into our brand image? Your brand colors are probably colors that you really like, that you're naturally attracted to. Whatever the reason is, there's psychology behind those colors that gets you going, that makes you you. That's the authenticity that is you. So we are going to wear those colors. What's up, Style Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Style for Life podcast. It's your girl, Katie here. This is post West Coast Cali vacation Katie, back with another episode. I'm so excited for this episode. I'm so excited for this episode that I actually am starting the recording all over, which is really weird because I don't ever have to do that. I don't know why. I just recorded like 10 minutes of this episode and I just couldn't stop stumbling and like just getting in my own way. I think we're going to blame it on vacation brain. But I'm super pumped for this episode. I'm standing up, recording this on my stand-up microphone. I'm so excited to be here. We're back from vacation, and boy, am I excited to be back. My kids aren't in school yet. Shout out if yours are. But summer is winding down, and I feel so sad because the summer is one of my favorite seasons. But the fall, the fall is coming. And the fall is so juicy, especially as a business owner, just really as anybody. So I don't know if you've noticed this. September is new January energy for me. I think personally, if I can go back and redesign our calendar, that September would be the big January New Year's goals resolution energy. I would put that in September. There's just something special about September when we do that. And I think it's this, right? Like spring, you plant the seeds. Summer, you water it. It gets lots of sunshine and it's just growing. You're just building behind the scenes, right? And then in fall, it's all there and it's time to harvest all of your hard work. But for some reason, we have our big January goals set in the dead of winter, which is hibernation month, where you're not supposed to be working a lot. You're supposed to be resting. And I think that's why there's so much dissonance. So I'm sharing this with you because as we're heading into the fall, September is so powerful. And this episode is going to set you up for whatever great, amazing new goals that you have in your business. We are going to focus on the 3 pillars of your brand image and how to create a super, super strong like, know, and trust factor with your style. And I'm going to break it down into 3 pillars, right? The 3 A's. And we're going to make it really easy. And I'm going to give you style tips for how to master each pillar so that you can so easily create the like, know, and trust factor with your clients through your style. So speaking of like, know, and trust, let's talk about the Style Squad giveaway. So full transparency. Hardly any of you guys have signed up for the Style Squad giveaway that I'm only sharing here with you guys, Style Nation, on the podcast, and I'm not advertising anywhere else. Why am I telling you that hardly no one signed up for it? Because this is your chance to sign up and you have a super good chance of winning. The other reason I'm telling you is I've been having a lot of conversations with people around social media. As a business owner, it's a necessary evil, I think. I hate that word, actually, now that I say it out loud. But there's just this thing with social media where we capture just a moment in time. And that moment in time doesn't always tell the full story. And it's highly curated and we can make it be and do anything that we want it to do. And I love podcasting for that because podcasting captures a lot of moments. It's a long form content, right? You can listen to a podcast for 15 minutes or an hour, but you get to connect with this person and hear their inflections and hear them talk. Yes. Do people have a planned out, what they want to talk about in their podcast? Of course they do. But chances are, and this is at least the podcasters I enjoy, which I'm assuming you probably enjoy too, right? Because like friends of friends, they don't overly script their podcast and they don't edit the shit out of it. So it's not like this perfectly curated social media feed. And I was thinking about this and I was having this conversation with one of my friends and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go on the podcast and just say like, yo, hardly anybody's entered this giveaway. I think it's a pretty awesome giveaway. Of course I do, because it's 3 months into the Style Squad community. Why are the next 3 months so important? Because I was just talking about September, and September is going to be the juiciest month of the year. And then you have October and November. These are literally the biggest shopping months of the year. And while style doesn't equal shopping, when we are dialed in on our style, shopping becomes a lot easier. It becomes a lot more impactful and it can be really intentional. And that's why I designed this 3-month giveaway to launch and drop right now. So that being said, your chances to win are really, really high unless you guys all go sign up. So katiejuststyled.com/giveaway. Enter the giveaway to receive 3 free months into the Style Squad. This Friday, the 25th, is the last day to enter. I'm going to announce the winner in next week's podcast episode. And why do you want to be in the Style Squad? Because the goal and mission of the Style Squad is to help you uncover who you are, what your values are, which we're going to talk about today, and how to create a style around that. It's a community of women who show up every week that are super cool and down to earth to share what's working and what's not working in their style. And it takes you through the client journey. This isn't just a community where you sign up and then nobody posts and you're in a private Facebook group. No, we have our own digital app platform that we use. There's an entire 30-day journey for you to go through as a new onboarded client. We have weekly calls that have different themes. Well, we're going to have weekly calls starting late September. Right now we do twice a month. We have different themes. We have mixers where you get to network and meet other business owners. We have style spotlights where you get to come and get styled. We have master classes. We have guest speakers from the Style Squad. They get to showcase their magic and meet their style members and support them from that way. And it's a lot of juice. The brand new fall masterclass with all the trends for the fall season, what to buy, 30 done for you lookbooks will be dropping in the Style Squad in this period. And we're doing something fun and juicy this September on how to unlock your style story and use it for everything that we will be talking today. And it's free to Style Squad members only. Super juicy. So if you're like, yes, and this isn't some sleazy, get you signed in for 3 months, give me your credit card. And then when the 3 months are over and you forget, your credit card reboots. No, straight in 3 months, no credit card required. You're exempt. You get to pop in. If it's a good fit for you after those 3 months, cool. Then you can decide to be a member. If not, then cool. You don't have to be, but you won the giveaway. And that's what you get for taking the extra 5 minutes to sign up. Not even 5 minutes, 30 seconds. katiejuststyled.com/giveaway. The last day to enter is Friday, the 25th. Winner will be announced on the 28th. So you know what that means. I'm recording that at the last minute. So you have all the time to get in. And this is just for you, podcast listeners only. All right. Let's talk about the 3 pillars of your brand image. Super, super juicy. So I'm super excited about this. So you guys know I just launched the How to Nail Your Next Photo Shoot private podcast that you can also listen to if you have a brand photo shoot coming up. I will put that in the show notes, but katiejuststyled.com/nailed it. And out of that, there's one piece that I really wanted to share with you guys because I think this is just the bread and butter of it. This is it, right? So when we're in business, and you've heard this over and over, you have to build like, know, and trust with your clients before they will become your clients, essentially, right? With your ideal target clients. How do we do that? There's many different ways to do that, right? Showing up, giving value, being consistent, having a good brand. How do we develop that good brand? We have to have brand values. We have to have brand colors. We have to have all these things. And one thing I don't think that people talk about enough is our brand image, which is the easiest way to connect with someone without realizing you're connecting with them. Because every single morning, you are making the choice and the decision on what you are going to wear, whether it's currently easy or not, we can fix that, to communicate non-verbally with everyone, and not just your clients, but with yourself. And when you're doing this with yourself and them, but mostly yourself too, or what I'm about to say next with yourself, is that it's immediately boost your confidence, right? Which is a big part of it. It's hard to trust or even like sometimes someone who's lacking in confidence, because that person's going to drain your energy. So let's unlock that style story. Let's nail that brand image with these 3 pillars. And I've lined them up with the like, know, and trust. So the number 1 pillar, how do we get someone to like us? We have to be authentic. Authenticity, that's your number 1 brand pillar. How do you create authenticity with your style? Well, this comes out in your self-expression of who you are, right? What are those little nuancy, quirky things about your personality that you can weave into your style? How do we share our origin story into our brand image? Right? This is where like your brand colors become really important. How can you embody your brand colors? If I had to go on a limb in your personal brand and you're a small business owner, a female entrepreneur, or as we call around here, a stylepreneur, your brand colors are probably colors that you really like, that you're naturally attracted to. They're probably colors that look really good on you. Naturally, it's why you're attracted to them. And if they're not, quote unquote, in your color season, which they don't have to be, that's another episode for another day. You're attracted to them for a reason. And the reasoning, whether you know it or not, boosts your mood, makes you happy, makes you more productive, makes you more calm, connects back to those values, which we'll talk about in a second, because that's pillar 2. Whatever the reason is, there's psychology behind those colors that gets you going, that makes you you. That's the authenticity that is you. So we are going to wear those colors, right? You've associated those colors with different words and feelings, whether you know it or not. This is where all the fun subconscious thinking comes in for all of my neuroscience geeks, right? Shit is really powerful. This is where we can use words to show our authenticity and to showcase our origin story. I'm going to give you a quick example. This is a little awkward because it is my example, but who else am I better to pick on and showcase than myself, right? When I did my brand photo shoot, it was super intentional with the outfits that I chose, the colors that I wore, all of those things. Yes, I put a lot of pressure on myself for that because I knew what I was trying to accomplish, but I wanted to showcase my origin story. I wanted to showcase something that's really near and dear to my heart, and that's bootstrapping and the grittiness and the hunger that drives me on a daily basis to be the person that I am, the get shit done attitude that I don't know if it's just the East Coast thing. I attribute it to an East Coast mentality, that the grit, right, that I'm attracted to, that I exude, that gets me going. And I chose and looked for a graphic tee that said East Coast on it. So when you see that picture of me with my East Coast t-shirt on, holding a pair of cheetah boots, it tells you a story immediately. The authenticity of the person that I am is being showcased and visually communicated to you non-verbally immediately. So you might be thinking, wow, so one, she's an East Coaster. Maybe she does this. Maybe she thinks that, the sun rises and shines out of the East Coast because the New York Stock Exchange opens and closes on our side of the country. Just fun things like that we joke about, right? Everyone is always talking about how like a West Coast is so laid back and chill and things like that. So you might start making these assumptions just based off my shirt. And that's what I intended, because if you like people who get shit done, if you like women who cuss, if you like women who are gritty, then I am your person, right? And that's what I'm trying to communicate. I'm holding the cheetah boots because I'm a stylist. I love fashion. I love self-expression. I think, cheetah pattern just embodies that drama, that boldness, right? It was just another way to take that boldness and that grit and pair it together. That being said, that's another way we show our authenticity, is we mix and match the elements of our style archetype, right? We pair the sneakers and the skirts. We pair the pieces of ourselves together, those two opposing pieces of you that I had one client one time, she was like, it's all about the alchemy and the anarchy. Like, how do I blend the masculine and the feminine? How do I blend these two sides of myself, right? It's all about blending those pieces of ourselves. How do we know what those pieces of ourselves are? If you haven't already, you have to take the Stylepreneur Archetype quiz so you can understand what your Stylepreneur archetype is. Your archetype is the 5 major style archetypes that you fall under. So are you classic? Are you casual? Are you dramatic? Are you creative? Are you romantic? What's your leading lady archetype? And then what are the other archetypes that you also are into? And how do we blend those elements together, right? Maybe you're a classic and a casual. How do you take the elements of someone who's really classic, say like a nipped blazer, really clean quality lines in your clothing, and mix them with the person that's casual? The easiest style element example I could think of is when we pair like our tailored blazer with a pair of jeans and Converse, right? That immediately tells you something about that person. That immediately lets you into a piece of who they are. It immediately starts to tell a little bit about their why, their origin story, and it gives you the authentic version of themselves. So pillar number 1 for your brand image is authenticity, which is how we let people in and we start to build that likeness factor. Are they like us? Do they like us? And I don't mean like, oh, we're getting likes. I'm talking about your people being your people, right? Authenticity. Pillar number 2 is alignment. How is your style aligning with your values? How is this person getting to know you, right? Like, know, and trust. Number 2 is all about them getting to know you. So they've started to like your style because you're being authentic in how you're dressing. But now it's time for them to get to know you on a deeper level, right? We could say the authenticity piece is like the fun piece for me. And the alignment and the values is where the depth comes in. So when I style someone, this is how I like to do the depth and the fun together. So like, okay, the fun, what colors can we mix together? What elements can we mix together to showcase your authenticity? Now let's weave in the depth of who you are, what you value. So you have to get in alignment with your values. If you have a small personal brand and you're a femalepreneur, solopreneur, as we like to use around here, stylepreneur, entrepreneur that uses their style to showcase their values and build like, know, and trust, consistency with their clients, we are focusing on how to be in alignment with those values. What are those values for you? What are they? If you don't know what they are, if you have a brand and you've worked with a branding agency or a small branding business that have done this is going to be one of the first questions they ask you. Like, what does your brand stand for? What does it represent? Right? So my brand is all around connection, fun, creating really deep relationships, curiosity, and passion, right? I want people to have fun. I want people to stay curious so they can push those limits. I want them to ignite the passion in themselves, have fun, and build really deep relationships and connections as they do it. Those are my personal values, and I've just weaved them into my brand because I love it. I don't know how to separate the two. What are your values? When you pick your key values, then we decide how we can incorporate them into your style. So I'll give you a couple of examples on this one. So this one isn't as obvious as use your brand colors and then use your style archetype, right? And blend and mix and match. So if one of your values is around sustainability, or like I have a friend who's opening a business, kind of not like a thrift store, I'm not like a resale program for clothing, right? And she's going to do it locally, this whole project, right? One of her big pillars is the environment and sustainability, right? So some of the jewelry she wears is, recycled material earrings and things like that. Sustainability is a big part of her brand. So it makes a lot of sense for her to wear those earrings, or it makes a lot of sense for her to buy clothing from brands that donate and plant trees every time you buy a pair of their shoes. Or it makes sense for her to shop at places like ThredUp and other places to rent clothes instead of buying clothes, or to recycle, right? Recycle clothes, recycle fabrics so they can be reused again. So when you're creating the style, it's around, shopping brands that are sustainable, actually wearing sustainable goods. Like I know Nike, my brother-in-law, we just bought him a pair of shoes that were like recycled material shoes, and they had that look and everything, and they're really, really cool. Maybe one of your brand pillars is around inclusivity. Maybe one of your brand pillars is around being chill, right? Your brand pillars can be around anything. So if your brand pillar is around inclusivity, what does that mean? Is that inclusivity in sizing? I think of sizing as a stylist. Maybe it's inclusivity around people. Maybe it's inclusivity around gender or race or age, whatever that is, you get to decide. And then you wear clothes from those designers or graphic tees that represent that, or whatever that is. I'm going to give you 2 easy examples on how to do this, right? So Denise Duffield Thomas, you might know her, you might not. I'm going to go on a limb and say you probably do if you're listening to this podcast. I'm obsessed with her books. I love her podcast. One of her big brand values is to keep shit simple and make it easy. Her whole thing is to be a chillpreneur, right? How to be a chillpreneur. So when you look at her, that's one of her values. When you look at her, now you're going to have to go Google her after I say this. She wears a lot of blue. Blue is the calming color, right? It's all about chill. It's the color of the sky. It's the color of the water. Anything that we associate with being chill and zen outside of the color green, blue is the color. It is the world's favorite color. It's the most calming color. That is the color that we associate with life force, sustainability, livelihood, and being calm. Also, her clothes tend to have a lot of flow to them, right? A lot of movement. She's not wearing a lot of like really hard blue colors and really stiff fabrics, right? They're really fun shades of blue that we're going to remind you of the ocean, and they're really flowy and make you feel good and chill, right? That's one of her vibes. Amy Porterfield is another person that I think does this really well. I like Amy Porterfield. She not like my person. I mean, she's obviously fucking super talented. I'm not hating on her. She just doesn't have as much grit as I like from people. Like I'm more of a Rachel Rodgers type of girl, right? Someone that's just going to tell me like it is, right? Like that's what I need. But something that I think Amy does really well, and I'm not sure exactly what her brand values are, but if I had to guess, there's definitely a value in there around warmth and happiness and almost like a peppiness, right? And it's this like exuding of sunshine, of like, how can I make this super easy for you? How do I make it sunny on a day that feels cloudy, right? I don't know exactly what that brand value is at the moment that I'm recording this, but you understand the picture that I'm trying to paint here, right? So Amy Porterfield, we're just gonna say equals sunshine. She wears a lot of yellow. And when she does promos and when she shows up on her live calls, I've noticed that she has a lot of yellow earrings, right? Because you really only see her. She's a digital creator. So you really only see her from chest up online. And she's always making sure that she's wearing those earrings. And she does a really good job with keeping her hairstyle consistent. Because I think that's part of her brand is how do I make this easy and consistent? And how do I just make this online digital course space that feels so overwhelming super easy and sunshiny for you? So those are just a couple examples on how do we weave in our values? How does this person really get to know us, right? They like us because we're being authentic. That dictates the kind of earrings that we're going to buy, right? That dictates the style, not the kind, the style, the silhouette of the earrings that we're going to buy. Then you align your values to that. And like when I use that example of buying the recycled material earrings, right? That's the actual kind of earrings that we're buying. Does that make sense? That's how we break it down even further. So we've got the like factor. We use our authenticity. That's pillar number 1. We have our know factor. We get in alignment with our brands. With our values. That's pillar number 2. Pillar number 3, one of my favorites, is authority. How do you build the trust factor with these people? How do you let your client know, not these people, how do you let your client know that you are knowledgeable and that you do create transformations and that you do know what you are talking about? And mind you, I am talking about your brand image, but I'm also helping you build your inner confidence, because there's so many psychological effects that impact our mood based on how we dress. So you may know that you're really good at something, and you may know that in a couple of years, you'll be even better at that thing. I feel like this all the time, but you know what you're doing, but it can be super scary. So I think authority and dressing with authority is super, super important, not to outwardly facing to exude authority and power and knowledge that we know what we're doing to our ideal clients and target market, but to ourselves. That's why this is my favorite one. All of those obviously are connections back to yourself, but this is how we build trust with ourselves. This is how we build trust with everybody else. So when we're talking about that like, know, and trust factor, it's the authority. This is your chance to maximize the impact that your clothing has on your confidence and your self-esteem. And it's a big deal. The world is your oyster. You get to decide what makes you feel powerful and confident and how to build the authority. But a couple of just quick style tips to get you there. Obviously, tailored pantsuits or any kind of tailored look immediately exudes authority. So for all my classic girls out there, this is you already, right? This is where you live. You love the tailored 2-piece sets. You love, clean lines and quality fabrics. So for the rest of us who are in the casual, romantic, or dramatic, we just need to pull a little bit from your style book, right? So tailored pantsuits, something that can feel really powerful. Another thing that feels really powerful, and one of my favorite ways to build authority, is monochromatic outfits. When you think of power suits, they're usually one color. So for those of us that aren't looking to exude power in a very traditional classic way, by taking that monochromatic one color and applying it to your dress or to your other outfit, that's how you can master and exude authority, is with a monochromatic outfit. Now, that can be a sweatsuit if you want it to be. It can be whatever you want it to be. This goes back to your authenticity, your alignment with your values, and your level of authority that you're trying to build. So obviously, a pantsuit is one of the easiest classic ways to build authority. Then if we want to step away from that and we want to be more creative, dramatic, or romantic, really choose a dynamic monochrome outfit in a bold color, or absolutely in a brand color. If your brand colors aren't bold, make sure you're sticking with a brand color. Monochrome, it makes you look longer, taller, faster, stronger. You notice it in suits. When we think of suits, we think, men's suits, but I want to call out some of the leading ladies in our country that wear a lot of monochromatic outfits that exude power. Michelle Obama, she does this really, really well. She wears a lot of monochromatic outfits that just exude power. And then last but not least, my other style tip for exuding authority is just a bold statement piece. Just be yourself. Just wear that bold necklace, wear those bold shoes, wear that bold lip, wear that bold hairstyle. Use it as a connection piece, right? Use it as a conversation starter. Use it as the authority building piece that it is. Use it to build that confidence and that connection. So the 3 pillars of your brand image: authenticity, alignment, and authority. Like, know, and trust you. I hope that was super helpful for you. Sign up for the Katie Just Styled giveaway. For the Style Squad giveaway on katiejuststyled.com. The last date of entry is going to be the 25th. If you haven't signed up by the 25th, you won't make it. I'm going to record and announce the winner for the August 28th episode. This is for 3 free months, 90 days, the 3 best months of the year when it comes to styling and shopping and building your style story to amplify your brand inside the Style Squad. 3 free months, no strings attached. kittyjustsstyled.com/giveaway. And stay tuned because super exciting, juicy stuff is coming. An interactive opportunity to unlock your style story is coming in September. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. I will see you guys on the flip side.